Hello investors, welcome to Business Learnings. This is the episode number 2 of the series of videos that I'm doing on cryptocurrencies. In the first video, I talked about how institutional investors' money is now flowing from gold to cryptocurrencies. They are viewing cryptocurrencies as a hedge against inflation, which means that going forward in the next few months, we'll be seeing decent gains. But you, as an investor, if you want to invest in cryptocurrencies, you must first fundamentally understand what it does, what problems does it solve, or so that you can calculate the intrinsic value and you can take a call on how much you should be investing into it. Right. So in this video, we'll be covering little technical details of the blockchain network. Now, blockchain, cryptocurrencies, different terms, Bitcoin, Ethereum, what it is. All the cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ripple, Dogecoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, whatever it is, they all follow one protocol. And this protocol is known as blockchain network. It's as simple as that. Blockchain is simply a chain of blocks. Each block in the chain will have a set of transactions. What kind of transactions? I'll give you an example. Let's say you go to a bank and you reach the counter of a bank teller. What do you see? You see a pile of checks. Each check will have 4 pieces of information: name of the sender, name of the recipient, amount, and the signature of the sender. Right? One check will have these 4 pieces of information. There are date and time information as well. A blockchain is a digital version of the same check. It will have person A is sending 1 Bitcoin to person B. It will be followed by person A's signature. Line 2 will have person X sending 12 Bitcoins to person Y, followed by signature of person X. The list of such transactions will constitute a block. Right? Now, since these blocks are linked by a chain, how does that chain work? The chain is simply a cryptographic hash. What is a cryptographic hash? It's a one-way function. I'll rather not go into technical details. I'll show you quickly in this video a basic demo that will explain you a cryptographic hash. But before that, let me show you how does a block look like in actuality. Right? So I'm on this website blockchain.com/explorer, and you see these are the latest blocks. Blocks are nothing but list of transactions, right? These are the latest blocks. Let me quickly check what are all the blocks. So, well, these are all the blocks. So by seeing this, you would have gotten some idea on what does a hash, what actually is a hash. A hash is simply a fixed length string. In very basic terms, a fixed length of sentence, and it's a unique sentence. It's a one-way sentence. You give it some input, it will give you some output. The output is always unique as long as the input is unique. If you have the output, you have no way to figure out what's input. But if you have 2 different sets of inputs, you have a way to figure out whether these 2 inputs are same or not. Right? If you did not understand, rewind a minute before and watch it again. Right? So these are the latest blocks that are mined. Let me click on any of the block and show you what are the constituents of that block. See. So these are the transactions that were done. So I told you there are 10 different pages, which means that there would be about 50 to 100 transactions. So person A is sending 0.0139 something Bitcoin to person B on this date and time. Similar to a checkbook, right? Similar to a piece of check. This much information. Then another person is sending this much Bitcoin to another person. Analogous to the check example that we took. Now, you do not see the actual names of the person. These are the wallet addresses of the person, similar to account numbers, right? So this is what a block looks like. Now, I'll give you an interesting thing. Hash, the cryptographic hash that I was talking about, look, it has about 19 or 20 zeros that are prefixed in the block. What are these? So, when we say that a block is mined, it means that all the computers on the network, all the nodes on the blockchain network, they have to do a mathematical calculation. They'll have to find a number which is known as nonce, and this number has to be appended at the end of these block transactions such that the resulting string, the cryptographic hash of the resulting string should have these many zeros at the beginning. And it's difficult to calculate. The reason being, this nonce could be any number from 0 to 4 billion. And since it's irreversible, calculating hash is irreversible, I have no option left but to calculate, go check nonce one by one, whether this works with 1, whether this works with 2, and this is what the miners do. This is where the entire computation power of the blockchain is used, right? So this person, if you look closely, this person calculated, so miner is unknown, we'll have the wallet address of unknown if you click on that. See the nonce value. The nonce value is given as 2,995,781,807. So this person must have calculated, must have reached that number starting from 1, 2, 3, 4 and up to this point. He must have failed about 3 billion times. So this is the kind of transaction which is, that's why the blockchain, the mining is quite a power consuming process, right? So this is all about mining. I'll quickly show how a cryptographic hash function works if my laptop permits. A quick demo on the cryptographic hash function. You see in the input field I have these parameters, as in A sends 10 Bitcoin to B, B sends 11 Bitcoin to K, the list of transactions. And then towards the bottom I have I will have some nonce. Let's say I start with 1. Let me just draw it smaller. Yes. So in the bottom what you see here is the cryptographic hash function, the output. Our result should have at least 19 zeros towards the beginning. This one does not have. That's why nonce 1 does not work. We'll delete it. We'll place 2. It does not work. We'll delete. We'll place 3. Doesn't work. 4, 5. So we keep on trying it till it reaches the point where the output cryptographic hash has 19 zeros in the beginning, right? Now this property of the cryptographic hash function makes it unique, that even if you change just one character, it will change the entire hash completely. Look at, if I just add a dot here, it changed the entire hash value, right? I just changed a dot and it updated the entire value. So that's why the Bitcoin network, the blockchain network, is very tamper proof. Let's say I am A, my name is A, and I'm sending 10 Bitcoin to B, but in the ledger I just update it as 15 Bitcoin instead of 10. So instead of 10 I just wrote 15 Bitcoin. You see the entire block changed, the entire hash changed, right? That's the power of, that's the advantage of using cryptographic hashes. It makes it tamper proof. And since this changed, I again have to calculate the nonce, not just for this block but all the subsequent blocks, and that makes it almost computationally impossible for me to beat all the networks that are present on the blockchain network, on the Bitcoin's blockchain network. I probably cannot beat all of them, all the 6 blocks, 7 blocks, whichever the number of blocks that might be ahead of this block, and that's why it is very tamper proof. There is no central authority which maintains the entire list of transactions. It is the responsibility of all the nodes to maintain and update this ledger, right? And the one who calculates it the fastest wins the mining prize of 6.25 Bitcoin. And this prize keeps on getting halved every 4 years, which means that 2024 onwards for mining every one block, you will just be rewarded 3.125 Bitcoin. 4 years after that, you will just be rewarded about 1.5 Bitcoins. That's the reason the overall supply of Bitcoin is limited, and a very good economics plays here, right? Since the supply is limited, the price keeps on increasing as more and more people get interested in Bitcoin, which is very similar to how gold behaves. We know that there is a limited supply of gold and everyone wants gold. That's why there is a balance between demand and supply, and this balance is such that the price of gold is approximately 50,000 rupees per 10 grams. Similarly, we know that Bitcoin, the overall supply of Bitcoin is limited. It's not unlimited, and that's why the price is, as more and more participants keep on participating in it, keep on participating in the Bitcoin network, the price keeps on increasing. This was a very basic example. I had oversimplified a lot of things. It's not as simple as I explained. There are certain positives, there are a lot of negatives as well. For instance, the calculation, the mining time of blocks, it somewhat limits the amount of transactions, the number of transactions that the Bitcoin network can process in a given amount of time. That's why a lot of modifications are done on the existing blockchain network, and several other forks are created. For example, Ethereum was created, which has a mining time of just 15 seconds as compared to Bitcoin, which takes 10 to 15 minutes for one block to mine. There are more modifications, more customizations as per various business and financial needs are done that could suit the various needs well enough. And that's how multiple cryptocurrencies were introduced. Now, Bitcoin, being the oldest of them, has the biggest leverage because it has the highest market cap, it has the highest popularity. That's why it exploits the best price amongst all the listed coins. But there are coins which are way better than Bitcoin. That's the drawback. And Bitcoin is not ideal for transactions, but it provides a good platform for other coins to explore and build upon it, right? So as a coin, no, but as a platform, as more and more people start participating in it, the prices will keep on rising. Similar to currencies, the more people believe in it, the more valuable it is, right? Similar to currencies, Bitcoins and any other cryptocurrencies have the same property. Now, I hope I was able to explain the technical details of cryptocurrencies. There are minor tweaks, minor functional enhancements in all the cryptocurrencies except Bitcoin. They address a certain use case, and in the next video probably I'll be covering some of the good cryptocurrencies and what problem statements do they solve, so that we can get an idea from the utility perspective if which ones are more useful and which ones can we consider investing in. If you have been watching so far, thanks a lot for spending this much time. See you in the next video. Bye.